Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justified Jewel Podcast. My name is Joann Cox, and I'm so excited to be here before you one more time. And today we have the subject of independence and self reliance. That's pretty heavy, but it's also very broad. But I have a wonderful guest here today, and her name is Angela Tolbert. But before we get into what she feels about it and how we can make this work, I'm going to tell you that I am a speaker as well as a life coach. And if you want to know more about me, you can tune into my website, which is www.justifieddjewel.com. And you can find me on any media platform. Now let's dig right into it. All right, Angela. For me, independence means to be free of. And that can be free of so many things. That can be free in the financial state, the physical state. It can mean just free of other people. What does that mean? Because self-reliance is a bit different. Self-reliance means that I don't have to depend on someone, but it doesn't mean that I don't need people. We all need people.
Right.
So tell me what you think about those two words. Independence and self-reliance. Yes.
Independence is, like you said, being free of people, being free of being free to use your finances the way you want to, being free to make decisions without checking with someone else. Independence is kind of taking care of yourself. And I guess self-reliance is kind of the same thing, but different. Self-reliance is counting on yourself to do the things that need to be done. And as you said, you still need people. We still need community. Community is required, but I don't have to have it in order to be successful or to get things done.
Yes, I totally agree. And I believe that when children are very young, and when I say young, before the age of going to school, like kindergarten,
yes,
I can see a personality trait in kids. They don't want you to hold their bottle. They don't want you to help them to try to do things that we think they're going to hurt themselves. They come here with that sign of, I want to take care of myself. But as adults, we want to protect them.
Right.
And we start to encourage them to depend on us. I can see that. Now, what do you think after being around many different people, many different cultures, all different age groups, what can we do to encourage young people to be independent?
As you say, from the beginning, before I came here, I was in charge of a daycare center. Mm-hmm. And we had from 2 to 4 or 2 to 5, basically, until they went to kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And in those classes, those kids were taught to think independently, to be able to, because there are only maybe 2 teachers in a classroom, so you can't be with all the children all the time. So they have to learn how to do things for themselves. They have to learn how to feed themselves. Well, and when they get older, of course, they get to go to the bathroom by themselves. But at 2, we kind of do that. I just spent the weekend with twins, 6-month-old, and boy and a girl.
Yeah.
And I could see the little girl is like on it. She's holding her bottle. She doesn't want you can hold her, but not her bottle. The young man, he has one hand on the bottle, one hand on your shirt to make sure you're not going anywhere while you're holding his bottle. So that was interesting.
Well, and you did say here. So I just want you to know that I am in North Carolina and Angela is in Georgia.
Yes.
So we're in 2 different places. Now, what I want to bring up in this conversation is as we grow older, you just got through talking about a very young age group.
Yes.
Then we get to the teenage group. We have that group that feels like mom and dad, money is on a tree, and I just want, I want, I want. Then you've got the other kids that are saying, guess what? I want to do it on my own. I want to go out and get a job. I want to do this and that. what do we do with the ones that the mothers are actually catering to the kids by giving them everything?
They need to set limits. I would think setting limits would be a good thing. And um, in Bible study last night, we talked about talents and how God gives us all different gifts. And if we don't use those gifts, we could lose those gifts. And
Mm-hmm.
kids are gifted at an early age. So if the parents could recognize what they're good at and encourage them, that would be a way for them to become self reliant and independent.
That's true. That is so true. And for the people that want to go out and do their own thing, then I say kudos to them.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you that I've been knowing Angela since we were in middle school. And I'm not going to even say how old we are right now, but that middle school, you know, we're way, 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 way past that. Okay. And I know that Angela was working during her high school years. And I don't know if you remember you were working in United Way. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Well,
yeah, in high
yeah.
school,
Well,
in senior year. Yep.
yeah, well, I wanted to be Angela. She was smart. She read like 100 books. It looked like in 30 days. And I would get all those books out of the library, but I didn't read. I didn't read them, right? And she's still doing that, and I'm still reading, one book per month. But I'm stepping it up to four. But with that being said, is that Angela was working, and I wanted to work. And you know what my parents said? Not my parents, my father. My father said, you don't need to go to work because when you go to work, it'll make you get used to the money and you'll feel like you don't need an education. Excuse me? Okay, that didn't even make sense to me then. But being the obedient child that I was, I accepted it, but I wanted to go to work for two reasons. I wanted to have my own money and I wanted to have skills. Now, Angela,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know that those days back then gave you skills that you probably use today.
Yes. Yes.
And so
And
with
before
yes,
United Way, I worked the CYA. Remember Columbus Youth
oh
Authority?
yes,
I
yes,
did
I
summer
forgot about that
jobs.
one.
Yeah, I did summer jobs. And that was mm, um, probably 13, 14. So
Okay.
yes, I've been working for a while, but I grew up in a household where there was not a lot of money.
Mm-hmm,
So in order to do the things that I wanted to do, to go to the school dances, to go to the football games,
mm-hmm.
I had to go to the fair. I had to have the money to do it. So we were encouraged. It was four of us kids, and we were encouraged to go out and get the money that we wanted.
Yeah. So you can see the difference in the two right there. She was doing it and the family encouraged her to do it and she made it happen. And there was nothing behind it that made her feel like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah.
But there was something mentally that says, if you want something, go get it.
Yes.
And so the mentality that we go through, we have to understand that what we put in our kids, or if teachers are putting things in the kids' head, then we know that we are shaping young people every time we are around them and
Every
speaking to
time.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm talking about teens. We went through the younger. Now let's go to the 20s, 30s. Okay, you're already out of college if you went to college or university. And now there's usually a work program at college that they
Mm-hmm.
have to do. But they are wanting to do other things as well. And they're spending the money that they make, but they're not being resourceful. Now, can you just talk a little bit on having money and then using money the right way?
I can use an example. My great niece went to Georgia Tech, and she researched, got a lot of grants and stuff, and she actually went during COVID. 2020 is when she started, when she graduated high school and when she started. So there were a lot of grants and stuff out there. However, she wanted more. So
Mm-hmm.
she actually got a job on campus to help um, do the things that she wanted to do because, as we know, Georgia Tech is in the center of Atlanta. So,
Yes.
and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot to do in Atlanta. And
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to take advantage of all those things. So we have to encourage them to make it their own, to get out and see what it's like and make it your own. Get your own.
And I think where we're going with this is having that desire to want to do things.
You have
And
to.
if it's not given to you, it means that you have to sit back and say, how can I get it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is where I want people to see and where I want them to go. But I want them to do it in a legal way.
Right?
Now be responsible for this. Now,
Yes.
I do know that there are parents that give their kids credit cards from the beginning to teach them. They say that they're teaching them how to use the money, and that when the cap on the card is over, then it's like some kind of a card that it has like $100 on it. Either you spend it on your school clothes, you spend it on recreation, you do what you want, but when it's gone, it's gone. Now, do
Mm-hmm.
you think that is helpful?
I'm not sure because where's that money coming from? It's still coming from mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So they still don't have to be a whole lot responsible. They can still do whatever because they know that if it gets down to it, you may say there's a cap. But for real, if that child needs it for tuition or whatever, you're gonna find a way to do it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
and the drawback to me, I want to talk about the positive and the negative, because the drawback on that, they're thinking that when it's gone, it's gone. But if they spend it frivolously and they need things, do you really think the parents are going to let them go without clothes or food?
No,
No.
no. They're
So
gonna
the
step right up.
repercussions are not there. The
Mm-hmm.
repercussions are not there. So the drawback has to be that you suffer or you find the consequence that maybe I'll do better next time.
Yeah.
But to me, that idea of giving it to the child or the young adult just does not
No.
create them being self-reliant.
And be responsible. When I first went in Air Force,
Mm-hmm,
living on an E1, E2 pay, I got a credit card. I
mm-hmm,
went out buying stuff. And then I had to pay those bills. So I had to learn to budget, to
mm-hmm,
balance, because yes, I got paid every 2 weeks, but that every 2 week pay wasn't enough to pay for all that stuff that I had bought previously.
mm-hmm,
So I would eat in the chow hall, in the dining hall. Um, Sometimes I would have $50 left over from paying bills. I would have $50 left over for 2 weeks to do whatever. So I learned at that time, stop with the credit cards, pay them off and let it go so
mm-hmm.
that I could use my money the way I wanted to. But yeah, that was learning for me when I first left
Mm-hmm.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to go back again, and I keep using that term. I'm going to go back again because there's another instance in that I'm still believing it's a personality trait. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that your thinking and someone else thinking,
Different.
they will say, I will do better next time, but they don't. And you made the decision. You are an action person.
Yeah.
You are a person that say what you mean what you say, and you have to execute that the next time. You do not want to feel what you felt before when
Mm-mm.
you say, look at this. I
Mm-hmm.
know that credit cards are dangerous. First of all, you've got this high interest rate. And not even thinking about a high interest rate for all the people that say, when the bill comes in, I'll pay this off. But
And they
that
pay the
doesn't happen.
minimum. They pay the minimum.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And even if you pay double, so if you spend 100 on it and then you just say, I'm gonna pay 50 on it, then you use it before the bill comes in again, you are creating a vicious cycle.
Yes.
I would like to do something, and this is what the podcast is about. I would like to do something to reach out to schools just to talk about financial wealth, just to talk about what it looks like when you're older, so that you understand that it can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
It can, your parents or however you were receiving your cash will not always be available. And if so, people change. And when people change, it means you might not be in their plan.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
And yeah, and this is what this is about. And for the listeners, viewers, I want you to reach out to someone, and it might even be you yourself, as in, how can I help someone to get on the right track? Because I don't want to see anyone in financial debt. I
Yes.
don't want to see anyone that say someone is doing me wrong because they've never felt this before. They didn't know that it could happen to them because it was always there. You know the saying, you never miss the water until the well runs dry.
Yeah.
Well, why in the world you want to wait until it dries?
Mhm.
Well, the reason you don't, because you can't even fathom that actually happening.
Yes.
Now, believe it or not, Angela, we only have like 5 minutes. Can you believe that? And
Okay.
I told you this was going to actually go really
Yeah.
fast. So I'm gonna say right now we have to come back, and I have another question for you, but I just want the viewers to know that I'm gonna ask you to come back because I want to talk about the independence of when people are dating or living together or married, and we don't, put anything on people that are living together. This is not what this show is about, but that is how some people become reliant on their partners.
Yes.
But we're
Yes.
not going to talk about that right now.
Okay.
So, the last question for you is, when you see that this is happening and that now you're actually in the hole, can you give me some steps of how these people could possibly dig their way out
Out.
of a
Um,
financial
well,
situation?
they have to recognize where they are. How deep in debt are they? And then they have to do a plan. What I did was I had a few cards. So the one with the least amount that I owed, I worked on paying that one off first.
That's
So
what
you
they.
develop a plan to
Mm-hmm.
pay it off. And once you do, just try your best not to go there again. I'm at a point now, if I can't pay cash, I can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I may put it on a card, but I pay the card off right then. I
Mm-hmm.
just I don't I enjoy the trips that I take. I enjoy going out to eat. I enjoy being able to go out and buy whatever I want to buy within limits, but I don't ever want to be to the point where I can't enjoy life.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that with that mindset, if we can put that forth earlier,
Yes.
that they don't have to experience this,
Yes.
and that when you use cash, and when I have cash in my wallet, in my
Mm-hmm.
purse,
Mm-hmm.
I think much faster about whether I want to make a
But you,
purchase or not.
yes,
Because you know what? When you have a card, you feel like
it's
it's first of
easy.
all, it's not your money.
Yeah.
So you got this big limit, right? That's what they want you to do, dig into your limit. So I'm in this store, and I'm not gonna name any stores, but I'm in
Right.
this store. But if I'm using a card, I don't even mentally think about how much that costs.
Yeah.
I'll think about how much I want to pay for something. But if I go over and I don't have that $5, like if I had
Mm-hmm.
$100 in my purse, but I'm not trying to say, oh, I better make sure, let me add the tax and let me do
Yeah.
this and this. And as I got the card,
Yeah.
if it's 120, but I only had 100, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So
And I
what
don't
I
have store cards. I refuse to get store cards. No.
yeah, that's dangerous, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you can only spend the money in that
In
store.
that store. Yes.
Okay. So my thing, if you work with cash, and they say cash is going away, but cash is not going away.
Never.
There are people that will give you deals because they don't want you to use a card.
Yes.
I'm
Try going to a
saying,
gas station. Yeah.
yeah, I'm saying that if you start to use cash wherever you can, it makes you a little bit more realistic
Yeah.
about what you're spending.
Yeah.
If you understand that you have to be focused and disciplined and look at what is in your checkbook, because people don't even have a register anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
I have to, I have a limited amount of money. So I need to know what I spent and how much I have left. Because we already know that there are bills that come in that are unexpected, especially
Mm-hmm.
medical bills. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about those things on a different show. But my ending is to say, be realistic about what is coming in and what is going out. And
Yes.
no matter how much you make, minimum wage or what have you, put a cap on what you do have a budget for spending,
Budget. Yes.
and have some money for an emergency. If you have a car and if you have a landlord, I'm telling you now, you have an emergency. It's going to
Mhm.
come because you don't know what your landlord is going to do to raise the heights on the rent. You don't know what is going to happen with a brand new car that
Mhm.
you thought was under warranty, but it's not. So, do you see where we're going? How broad this topic is? Because I want it to
Yes.
be financially, physically, and talk about codependency. But we just touch the top of the icing on the cake. And I find this to be intriguing and interesting at the same time. But right now, I want to thank Angela for being my guest today. Angela, will you come back again?
You know I can't say no to you.
Great, great. And guess what? We had some technical problems. So next time Angela gonna have the backdrop
Yeah.
for us. We
We
know
got
we
it.
need Justified Jewel by
Yeah.
Joann.
You moved your
Okay.
hands. Yeah.
So again, I want to end by thanking the viewers to tune in and to tune in so we can go in depth with some more finances. But my name is Joann Cox. You're looking at Justified Jewel podcast, and I can be located on any media site. But do check out my website, www.justifiedjewel.com. I am a speaker and a life coach. Until next time, have a great one. Don't overspend. Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.